You are listening to the Mara Mukonda Show on Stellar Media. Thank you for joining us. With more cars back on the road, hijackers are making use of the opportunity and pouncing on unsuspecting drivers or motorists. Hijackings have increased by 20% from last year, according to the National Hijackings Prevention Academy. Joining me to talk more about what we can do to prevent hijacking situation is Mike Bolhuis, specialist investigator into serious violent and economic crimes. Just here to share with us some tips. And also, we're going to be looking at this new scam that has been making the rounds, whereby you get a call from a SAP, a South African Police Service official, calling you to let you know that your hijacked vehicle has been found and you have to pay a certain amount for it so that it can be retrieved. There's so many hijacking, you have no idea what to believe and what is true and what isn't true anymore. In fact, I also was involved in an attempted hijacking where by these gentlemen are trying to get me out of the car so that they can get in and get away with the car and my belongings. But obviously, I did not get out. All right, joining me is Mike Bolhuis. Mike, good morning.
Morning. Thanks for the opportunity.
And thank you for joining me this morning. All right, first of all, what drives people to do hijackings, especially in South Africa?
Well, crime begets crime. If one kind of crime works, all criminals will jump in and do the same. So it goes without saying in South Africa, it's a lucrative country to commit crime. It still has many, how shall I say, people that can be knocked and scammed and hijacked and robbed, etc., etc. So as long as there's people with money, with possessions, there will always be crime. And if there's no law and order or zero tolerance, then obviously it will escalate. Also, taking consideration that crime can only flourish when there's some form of authorities being involved as well. Because if the authorities are really doing their work and is really visual and really making the difference, then it will de-escalate. But crime only escalates.
How do thieves choose their victims or their cars?
Well, nowadays, it used to work on an order basis. They would like a specific Mercedes, and then there's a syndicate that will give the order through to the criminals. That's another smaller syndicate or gang, and then they will identify vehicles. They might have informants, and then they will target this person. But nowadays, they don't care how many people are in the car, whether there's children in the car, whether it's bright daylight or at night. It's random, it's anywhere. They have no fear or respect for the police, and they absolutely have no concern for the public at all. It's heinous crimes, it's malicious crimes, and it's, as I've said, it's all got to do with money.
Why is it so difficult to put an end to hijackings?
Well, as I've said, it's very clear in South Africa that the police does not act on crimes. We've seen it. You have seen it. We've all seen how many videos that has been shot. That has been sent per WhatsApp, where shops, cars been taken where it's videoed, and where the police is close by or have seen it and actually do nothing about it. And that's a big concern to me. So the hijackers in itself is a next level gang. They are dangerous, they are a weapon, and they have made their mark. So they know the public is dead scared of them. The public knows they shoot, and they shoot to kill. It's not like that they have to create a reputation. They've got it. So when you in the car see a man with a gun, you play along. You call him sir, you get out of the car, you only try and save your life and the life of your loved ones. Where the police is close by, or where we look at other forms of hijackings, where buildings are hijacked or shops are hijacked, or businesses are surrounded by groups where they threaten to take over all the trucks or all the stock if this and that and the other does not happen. We have seen on WhatsApp videos all along that the police is all around the periphery, but they absolutely do nothing. And the stone throwing and the fighting, the aggravation, everything carries on. So there's not a zero tolerance situation. The police is not feared, it's not respected, unfortunately, and therefore the criminal element has got this stability and this confidence in themselves as to commit these crimes.
All right, Mike, just stay with us on the line. We will continue when we return from the break.
Club aim to get a warm-hearted meal for underprivileged children so they can spend the day prospering in their schoolwork. Help feed a needy learner by visiting our website on www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573 to find out how you can donate. Penny Appeal. Small change, big difference.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042-203-1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Fabric Direct, now open at 224 Brickfield Road, over Port Durban, offering you a variety of dress fabrics, curtaining, upholstery, wallpaper, and deco. Fabric Direct, quality, price, and a range that speaks for itself. 224 Brickfield Road, over Port Durban. Fabric Direct, definitely worth a visit.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Mario Mukwanda Show on Salam Media, and today we are talking about hijackings and what you can do if you are in a situation like that, with Mike Bolhuis, who is a specialist investigator into serious violent and economic crimes. Mike, thank you for staying with us on the line. Now, there is this new scam whereby if your vehicle has been hijacked or stolen previously, you receive a call from the SAPS telling you that your car has been found, and in order to retrieve it, you would have to pay a certain amount. I know this happened to one of my former colleagues here, and her car was hijacked outside of a home, and she received a call a few days later telling her that this is the case, and she will need to pay a certain amount to in order to get her vehicle back. So how does this scam work?
Thousands of them. Thousands. I've been warning for years about cybercrime, which is the future crime of the world, which will be and is presently and will be the biggest crime in the world financially. And many of them, many a times, turn into violence as well. So this is one of many kinds of extortion. You've got sextortion as well. And let me tell you, this is how far it's gotten, where some of these callers are policemen. That's the shock. But most of them aren't. It is guys that, and we've caught recently some of them, where they have introduced themselves as the latest one. We have caught, he called himself Colonel Brown. His real name is actually Rianku van Tonder. we've sent out a project of him as an example of how they do it. So what he would do is he would call, as I've said, there's thousands of them, right? This guy will call a person and say to him, listen, there's been a case opened of rape in the police station, and but we can talk about it. So for me to tell the whole communication would take too long, but it boils down to it starts with just a call and a communication, and then he works the guy obviously up to a point of in such distress and such fear, and there's such intimidation that the guy will eventually pay anything and do whatever it takes. In one of these cases, we have had a guy that has paid over R1 million. And remember, this guy has never raped a woman. But they falsify photos, and he racks his brain, and he thinks with which woman has he slept where, and what will this do to his family and his kids, etc., etc. So it is shocking. It is heartbreaking to see what some of these people go through. And we get maybe 1% of the people that call us, because there's so many that goes through this. And we assist them and we help them. But it's the same with a car story. A policeman will call and say, listen, we found your car. But if you want to get it back quicker, you must give us a couple of bucks, and we need some phone money. And we'll arrange that it goes quickly. We want about 5,000 rand. It's a small knock and scam, but you can think for yourself, when these guys does knocks and scams on this kind, they do maybe 10 to 20 people a day. So you work out the money they make. They must have inside information, and they must have learned something from the policing system, or they must have been cops or security guards. They must have been in the authority somewhere. Because a lot of guys are doing this knock and scam of police that has retrieved stolen goods, especially vehicles, and police that is calling people and saying, listen, this and this crime is a crime that you have committed, and convincing you that you might have somewhere really slipped and that it could cause you to lose absolutely everything, especially your name and reputation. So they thrive on the fact that you would pay and would try and get rid of this as quickly as possible, because nobody wants to be known as a rapist or a child molester, or they use women the most. Secondly, they use, as I've said, the car scam. But most of the scams are on the area of police cases that were made against you, and now you have to pay. And unfortunately, the people are, sorry to say, they are that stupid that they fall for it. They don't do a proper evaluation, vetting. They keep on speaking to these people. They get deeper and deeper into it. And then eventually they think, all right, let me pay the 10,000 or the 20, then it's gone. It never stops there. They keep on extorting the people for years. It doesn't stop.
Wow, and it's very disheartening to learn that we have corrupt SAPS officials who are working on the side of the criminals instead of helping the people. Now, when it comes to hijackings, the common ones that we know are the ones where they come to you with a firearm and they force you out of your vehicle to try and take your belongings. But this is not the only type of hijackings. Please tell us about the other forms of hijackings that can happen.
There's a lot of hijackings in South Africa. The normal one that everybody would think of is the one that you speak of. You drive, suddenly, man with a gun, they take your car, your belongings, and they drive off with it, either with you within. Nowadays, they take you a bit along. You have to stop. You give the PIN of your cards. They withdraw all your money. They make several stops. They clear you out. And they might even threaten your family or your husband, and they extort money from them. It's not just a hijack anymore of just taking the car. Unless it's a direct, quick order that they have to take, they will pull you out, pull the kids out, and just leave with the car, whatever is in the car. But the hijackings has escalated by they take everything out of your handbag, and they will empty your accounts, and they will call your husband and say that they've got you and he must pay, etc. It's like kidnapping, hijacking, extortion altogether. Other forms of hijacking is where there's big trucks being hijacked. The driver gets hijacked. The truck with all its goods and contents has been stolen, and that has escalated immensely. Take note that in October and November, crime escalates with 200 to 300%. And then another form of hijacking is business hijacking or contract hijacking, or anything where somebody is doing a business where another company or competition or another group, many a times it's a group of people, and even with workers inside, is like they want to take over completely, and then they hijack the business. They basically say nobody works, nobody leaves unless this, that, and the other happens. And then the demands gets outrageous, up to the point of where they want part ownership or they want to be part of the organization. And here's my big concern. We have seen that of late that some political groups, which is very prominent nowadays, that is extremely violent, has interfered in that. And they have hijacked, for instance, a company that we're presently protecting and assisting, that's worth more than billions. That's how massive this has gone. And if this happens now, this is where it's going now, where there's political interference, where a political group plus unions, plus workers, plus a group of people and syndicates all work together to hijack a R1 billion trucking industry. Let me tell you, that is the quickest way to break the economy, because now all the businesses aren't getting their deliveries. So those businesses fold. Just in this 2 months that we've been working on this, we have seen how several businesses fold, especially the smaller businesses. So the hijacking of a contract or of a business is a very big problem. The last one is where there is the hijacking, where there is a building progress or a mall that's being built, or a progress of serious buildings and flats and housings that is being developed, where the same group, what we've just mentioned, with political affiliation would come in and they would hijack it. They would say, you will only use these people to build. You will only use these people to do the electricity. You will only use these people to do this, that, and the other. As a matter of fact, it's a complete taking over of the contract, and if you don't, there's severe violence. Now, how they do all of these hijackings goes along with a gun, goes along with extreme violence, extreme intimidation, and also with crooked cops. In all these instances, and we've been involved in all of them, we are the best of the best, but we cannot do the police's work. We cannot arrest. We have seen the police on the periphery, as a matter of fact, even amongst weather vehicles, doing absolutely squat. And this is a very big concern to me, that there's absolutely lawlessness. There's no law and order. And this is going to affect me, you, and all the listeners out there, because eventually it's going to cripple our already crippled economy.
Mm-hmm. So now that we have the situation with the corrupt officials and also a politically affiliated persons, what can we do to protect ourselves? Should we now be arming ourselves? Should we be fighting back against the hijackers and corrupt officials? What can we do? What are we supposed to do?
You know what's shocking? War is not the answer. There is no answer in violence. Because even if all kinds of violence break out, it's always the innocent people that loses the most. And I can give a big speech about war and why I say it wouldn't work. The only solution is we as the citizens of South Africa should in masses force the government and the police to do something. But we've done that and it doesn't work. So you clearly saw I was shaking my head the whole time. This is the mystery of iniquity. I don't have an answer anymore, because even the answers that I do give has most probably been given before and even practiced. But I know this, that if all South Africans would combat crime together and see crime as the common goal and the common enemy, looking past color, looking past religious beliefs, looking past political affiliations. If we can at least just do that, look beyond our differences and just see crime as the main problem of this country, because crime is the only issue that can completely and totally destroy all religions, all political affiliations, and all color. So to me, it's shocking that people can't see that and still look at each other. Ah, but you believe this, or you belong to that party, or you this color. That's the biggest problem. The biggest problem is that people cannot, they look at each other, they see each other, they evaluate each other. They cannot look over it and say, listen, let me and you, although we're completely different, look at crime as the common goal and enemy of this country. If that can happen, then we have the masses. And then the masses might make a difference. Obviously, we've said before, if the police is turning and is not corrupt anymore, it can make a difference. The same with the government. But our government is corrupt. It's completely influenced. It's like a mafioso organization. Everybody has something on everybody, and nobody will whistleblow. And if they do, nothing really comes from it. And every time there's a spark of a group of policemen that makes a massive difference, but it is so small because the snowball is so big. The crime in South Africa has become so enormous, and it's created a divide between the haves and the have-nots so big that the haves are all the criminals, and the have-nots is the ones that do not get a cent from any monies that's coming in. All the promises, everything that has always been made by the politicians or the police is not, they don't act upon it. And that's why I say there is no respect for the police, because look how you are treated when you walk into a police station. They actually shrug their shoulders and hope that you would leave. They just do not want to protect and serve. There's no attitude of, I want to protect and serve and make a difference. And if you have that attitude, you might be killed as a policeman by either your community or by the very policeman you work with. So the minority of real policemen is too small to make a difference. The minority of even communities is too small to stand up. They go more with the flow. Mm-hmm. Communities I have seen have decided to avoid any form of confrontation and just let things go as it is. And they become selfish, they don't get involved, they hear no evil and they see no evil and they just carry on. It's become that bad. And unless that changes, unless the government absolutely changes, totally, 100%, and the police, and we see the enemy as crime, number one, and we look past our beliefs, color, and political affiliations, never going to work.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for your time, Mike, for sharing that with us. And I hope that we all see crime as the main problem that we have to tackle together as a country, because it is definitely getting out of hand. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you once again, Marianne, for the opportunity. And I'm so sorry for the bad news, but you know by now I say it as it is. And I pray that we all can make and stand together and make a difference. God bless you all.
Amen. And have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
That was Mike Bolhuis, specialist investigator into serious violent and economic crimes, talking about hijackings in South Africa and the new scams and types of hijackings that are currently going on. Sad to hear, disheartening to hear that South African police officials are involved, political parties are involved. So there's like a huge syndicate when it comes to hijackings of buildings and contracts and businesses, etc. Trucks as well. So it's not just the cars that are being hijacked. And guys, any one of us can become a victim of crime. So be vigilant, be aware of your surroundings, especially if you are being followed. Hijackers rather will follow you, for some time, to try and get your route, to try and establish your movements, how you go to work, how you get back. So if you can change your routes, your routines, don't fall into routine. Try to switch it up a bit and do things differently so that uh, you try to get out of the situation. I know it can happen to anyone, so we are not immune to this. But let us all just try to be vigilant, be aware, and to be safe, especially during this festive season. Do not get out of your vehicle. And if you are in a situation where you are faced with a hijacking, please listen to them and do not try to fight your way or to protect your belongings. Rather, protect yourself and your children if you are with your children in the vehicle. You are listening to the Mario Mukwanda Show on Salam Media. Do stay with us. We'll be right back.